So is it shady? Yes. Is it fair game? Kind of. So how does the InvestorLift software keep people from becoming black hatters? This very important step right here. If you want to take advantage of a 10% off promotion on InvestorLift software, click on the link in my description below. It'll bring you to my link tree and you will take 10% off, which is the equivalent of at least $600 value. Be sure to use the promo code Joe and Sil. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the InvestorLift dashboard. This is going to show you analytics on how your deals are performing. Every deal that you publish is going to get posted to two locations. Number one being your own website, but they'll also get posted to the InvestorLift marketplace.
Two things I want to point out. Number one is it's extremely important to have numbers and data to track your KPIs. KPI is key performance indicator. I can't tell you how many wholesalers and flippers don't track these numbers close enough simply because they're just not very organized people. Well, that all changes starting today with this software. So if you have trouble tracking your numbers, this software is going to track them for you, and it's essentially going to make you a better business person. I love that about this software, and I also love the fact that there is an exclusive marketplace for sellers and buyers to come together to get better deals done.
Up here in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see this My Profile button. You're going to want to hit that, and that's going to take you to this page here. First things first, you're going to want to get a profile photo uploaded in there. This is huge because whenever you publish a deal to InvestorLift, it's going to show up as this contact dispositions manager page right here with your profile photo, and then whatever public phone number you list is going to show up next to that contact right there. So put in a public phone number there, or if it's your cell number or if you have a work number, you can punch that in there and that'll get tied to each deal that you post.
Okay, that's great for two reasons. Number one, you as a person have the ability to become more marketable and or likable to the other people within the marketplace. Here's an example. Have you ever met somebody on social media who maybe you've never met in person, but you see their photograph or their videos every day on social media and you find them to be likable and you want to do business with them? Well, that's what this does. It boosts your likability, your marketability in this marketplace. Now, maybe you don't want to have your photo there. That's fine. You can have your virtual assistant or personal assistant or your dispositions manager phone number and photo there. Either way, I think this is a great idea. Makes it more personal.
There's also this number for notifications. So this is purely private. This is just for getting notifications for everything happening in the system. So for example, you know, when offers are made, when buyers are registered for open houses, you can opt in to get text or email notifications from all of this. All right, let's get to the fun bits. Uploading properties. It's super, super easy to do. So what you're gonna wanna do is head to the properties tab right here, and then you're gonna wanna hit create property. Now, first things first, you're gonna wanna start with the street address. So go ahead when you're ready with the street address. I'm guessing it's that one.
Yeah.
Atlanta?
Correct.
Fulton County. Awesome.
Okay.
So you'll see autofill from Google. Once you click it, it's going to fill in all the data that we can find for that property on the internet, right? So already, I mean, I'm guessing this one's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath.
No, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's a condo. It's a high-end condo downtown Atlanta.
So we have APIs that will search through the web and it'll try and find as much data as we can on that property. But that being said, I mean, online data, it's never 100% accurate. It's pretty accurate, but every once in a while, you'll find hiccups, right? So it's always good to just give this a quick once over, just to double check that all the info is correct. Now you'll notice these 4 boxes right here. We have our asking price, our buy now price, purchase price, and ARV. ARV, pretty self-explanatory after repair value. What are the comps for this property?
The ARV is 350.
So we'll set that as 350, and then you have this asking price and this buy now price, right? Now, the way we structure this is kind of like eBay. You know, you can go on eBay and you can bid on items, get auctions going. Or if you're like, hey, I want this, I'll pay a bit more, but I'll get it locked in now, then you can have this buy it now price. So these guys are asking $380 for this property, and then their buy it now price is $390. So every once in a while, you'll come across a buyer, someone who's got cash, and they're just like $390, it's in my budget, and they'll hit that buy it now price. So for this one, how much are you looking to get to sell it for?
$290.
We could set a buy it now price of like $300. And then the last one here is going to be this purchase price. So this is however much you're getting the property for under contract. You know, it won't be made public anywhere. This is just used to calculate assignment fees on the dashboard, right? As you start accepting offers in on those properties, right? So how much did you get this one locked up for?
230.
230. Nice spread. I like that. Okay, I'm just going to set a title as first property for now, and then we can save that. Seller name, I'll just put seller name for now. You can change this after. So once we get all the details punched in, we're going to hit create property. And then you're going to notice all these new fields get unlocked at the top here. All the details, they're still punched in here, and you can come back, edit these, change these at any time. But the status of the property is going to be saved as a draft. That means it's not published anywhere yet, not until we get our photos or videos or Matterports. Once you upload all that in here, then you can mark it as available, and then that deal will then be published to your website. So we can come in here. We won't do it right now, but you can come back in afterwards. But pretty much you can upload your photos, your video walkthroughs, your Matterports. The way we integrate video is going to be through YouTube. What you want to do is upload the video to YouTube. And when you go to publish it, there's going to be an option to mark that video as unlisted. What that means is only people with that YouTube link will be able to watch it. It won't be available in public search. Definitely make sure you make them unlisted. We've heard horror stories of wholesalers. They'll do a video walkthrough of like a hoarder house and then publish it to YouTube. And one neighbor sees it and sends it to the whole neighborhood and pisses off the seller. It's like how to lose a wholesale deal 101.
So that's actually extremely important. If you are somebody like me who not only has a wholesaling business, and we are constantly looking for properties that need a lot of TLC. But you also have a real estate brokerage where we specialize in traditional sale, just connecting buyers and sellers on a regular, traditional sale. You don't want to post ugly properties on your YouTube channel for the general public to see. That's not what you're trying to portray as an area realtor. So you're going to want to take that YouTube video, upload it to your channel, but also mark it in a way, unlisted is the correct term, and mark it in a way where that link is only viewable by the people of whom that you share it with directly. So that's going to help you keep those types of marketing completely separate and not target the wrong audience and mess things up for you. Another thing, walkthrough videos are extremely important for the end buyer. So if I find an ugly property and I go there and I speak with the owners and the owners want to sell it, great. I'm going to be there to buy it. But not only will I be there to take photographs of the property so I can put them onto the InvestorLift for end buyers to consider, video walkthrough makes that end buyer even more comfortable than the photos. Not only does it increase your likelihood of the property going under contract, but it also increases the amount of dollars that you go to contract for. So not only is that a cool pro tip, but also the functionality of the software welcomes that type of behavior. Pretty cool.
Video walkthroughs are huge. Robert mentioned this in his presentation at the conference. We looked at the data on every property bought and sold on the platform last year, and we found that just having a video walkthrough on your properties increases your assignment fees on average by between $7,000 and $10,000 per deal. It's a big one. If you're not doing them yet, definitely start doing them. I'm going to show you guys a property that I have already published here. This is my sample property here. So we punched in our photos. We got our videos in there. I don't have a Matterport on this one. We can upload documents, inspection reports, floor plans, anything like that. We can even schedule open houses in here, right? When you schedule an open house, if we look at this published deal, it'll show up next to that published deal, right? So we'll see the open house here. And then they can select a date and a time if the buyer wants to, come in here, register for the open house. One click, boom, I'm now registered for that open house. Now, the cool thing about the websites is if any buyers come to your page and they interact with your deals, that means if they submit address requests, if they submit offers, if they register for an open house, automatically they get added to your buyers list. So you guys will start seeing a lot of natural growth to your buyers list as buyers engage with them and they interact with your properties. So open houses, notes, this is anything internal. You can see Joey left me a nice note here, take better photos. Thanks, Joey. And then we have inquiries and address requests. Address requests, it's a really nice feature that we added where essentially we were running into issues. Maybe some of you guys have experienced this where There's some really shady buyers out there, and given the opportunity, they will try and screw you out of a deal, right? They'll go knock on the seller's door and they're like, I'll give you 20 grand more for this deal. Totally illegal, but they're like, what are you gonna do? Drop 50 grand suing me over a $10,000 assignment fee? No way. So when buyers come to the website, you'll notice that everything relating to the address of the property is hidden, right? They can see the county, but if they come down here and they want to see, the street view, right, they're going to have to submit what we call an address request. Now, when that happens, it'll take them through this disclaimer saying, hey, any unauthorized contact with the seller, that's interference. I agree to pay $75,000 in damages if I try and screw with you on this deal, right? So this is meant to help protect you guys, just in case, there's some buyers who come in here and try and poach a deal.
So that's huge. What he's talking about is what the industry calls black hat wholesalers. Essentially what it means is that they're shysters. They are out there doing shady business. So you went out there, prospected a deal, put the property under contract, you're moving towards your closing date, and you put the information on the internet because you're seeking an end buyer. Well, what happened was one of these black hat wholesalers found the information on the internet, knows where the property is located because they can see the address, goes in their car, knocks on the door, gets a hold of the seller of the property, and essentially bad talks you and tries to pull the deal out from underneath you. So is it shady? Yes. Is it fair game? Kind of. Not if there's a contract in place. That's what makes it not fair game. So how does the InvestorLift software keep people from becoming black hatters? This very important step right here that clearly states that if you have any unauthorized contact with the seller, it will be considered as intentional interference with the contract, and you will then agree to pay the damages of $75,000 to the contract holder and an additional $25,000 to InvestorLift. That's an awesome addition to protect the deal and to protect your efforts.
They'll submit that address request. They'll now be able to view it. The great part is once you submit the address request, they'll come back in here under address request, right? You'll see who that buyer is, their email address, their phone number, and their buyer score, and the date and time that they submitted that address request. Now, we designed this to kind of slow down, people poaching deals, but what we found is this became the perfect hit list for hot buyers, right? Because if you think about it, if a buyer comes to your deal and they submit an address request, well, what does that tell you? Number one, they've looked at the deal already. They're in the market to buy, otherwise they wouldn't even gone to the deal in the first place, right? They've gone through the photos, they've gone through the videos, they're familiar with the area, and they've gone so far as to submit an address request because they're already running comps to figure out, what kind of an offer they want to make on that property. So every single one of these address requests that comes in on a property, try to convert those to offers, right? Every single one of them. Call them up as soon as they come in and be like, hey, I saw you checking out this property. What do you think is a fair price for that property? And it looks like Robert just joined us.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Robert?
What's up? One of the things we're going to be doing, I don't know if John told you this, but at the end of this, we're going to be giving one of you at the end 1 year full license of InvestorLift.
As a buyer, I want to come to this property. I want to make an offer. It's super easy to do that. I just go make an offer, set my offer price, say $300,000. I think that's fair. And then you guys can set a minimum EMD to make offers in on these properties. That's done in this box right here. Minimum
guys
EMD.
Have high EMDs. Like if you don't want people screwing around, and there's some cities right now where 70% of contracts are not closing. Buyers are backing out at the last minute. Now, if you have a 10K EMD and they back out at the last minute, well, you don't really care because you just pocket their 10K and just go relist it and sell it with someone else. If you got $1,000 EMD and a deal falls out the day before closing, you're up the creek. So on my deals, I always put $10,000 EMDs. Now, obviously you can't do that on like a $60,000 house. No one's gonna give you a $10,000 EMD on a $60,000 house. But within reason, always try to have the highest EMD possible. That way, you're only dealing with serious buyers.
That's a really important piece of advice because most wholesaling gurus and coaches are instructing their students to do as low as $100 in EMD. EMD is earnest money deposit. That's the good faith money that you put down when you write an offer on a contract contract showing the other side that you mean business. So yes, there's a bunch of gurus that say put $100 now. Look, I'm not going to go to war with them over that practice. If it works for them, great. But as a real estate broker and somebody who does a lot of business as a realtor, I always want to see a good dollar amount for an earnest money deposit. Of course, it depends on the size of the deal, but Robert Wensley, who's the CEO of InvestorLift Software, just said that he wants to see at least $10,000. So exercise caution, and that's some good advice right there.
All right, so making an offer, super easy. Submit that offer, and then now I can upload my proof of funds, any corporate documents that I have that can get submitted along with this offer. And you'll get a text, email notifications right away when those offers come in, so you can jump on them super fast. But we'll see that brand new offer just came in, who the buyer is, the cash offer price, and the EMD that they've submitted. Now, when we want to accept it, you just hit that thumbs up, and then that will fire off an email to the buyer, letting them know, congratulations, you're the proud new owner of this property. We'll get the paperwork signed, and then that's it. The deal's done. You move on to the next one.
One thing I'm going to mention real quick, John, on offers, after they submit their offer, so as soon as they type in their offer price, it's going to come in. The next step, it asks them to upload proof of funds. I always tell people, you don't have an offer unless you have proof of funds. There's so many people out there that are like not actual real buyers that, you know, are just going to try to daisy chain you. If I get an offer and it doesn't come with the proof of funds, first thing I do is I pick up the phone, I call them, I say, you know, thanks so much for your offer. Really appreciate it. Just want to let you know, it is our company policy that we do need proof of funds to consider any offers that come through. If you just click that next step and just take a screenshot of your proof of funds or upload it, we'd be happy to, you know, consider your offer. The guys that have money love showing off their proof of funds, and they're used to doing it. 90% of all the problems you're going to have with deals falling out are solved by one thing only, and that's getting proof of funds on every offer. So always get your proof of funds.
You'll see it. You can see I didn't upload it on this one, right? But there's a pass offer from Joey there where we can download and view the proof of funds once they've been uploaded.
100%. In the traditional real estate model, just simply buyers and sellers resale of retail property, an offer is not an offer without a proof of funds, ever. It's always been like that. That's what I teach my realtors. That's what I've been taught. It's silly to think otherwise. You got to have a proof of funds, whether it's a pre-approval letter from a qualified preferred lender, or if it's cash, like literally a bank statement reflecting cash, or a letter of credit from a bank, something of that nature. Got to have a proof of funds.
So a few quick pointers for you guys when you're uploading these properties. The first tip I have for you guys is going to be this property title. This is super, super, super important because the property title is going to be what shows up on the subject line of the email blast, right? So one thing you do not want to do is throw something super bland in here, like the address of the property or something, right? You want to spice it up a little bit, make it kind of clickbaity, right? I love throwing emojis on there. Robert, what were the stats on emojis for the open rates?
38% average open rate without emojis. If you add emojis, it just pops in the inbox a little bit more. There's more color and your eye gets drawn to it more and you get higher open rates. You go from 38% open rate up to 44. It's huge.
It's a good marketing tip. Usually email open rates are improved when you put emojis in the subject. I do it sometimes. It does work.
The one thing you want to avoid doing here is dropping in like anything to do with money. You don't want to put dollar signs. You don't want to put like 100K spread or anything like that. The spam filters like Google, Outlook, they'll see that and they'll be like, oh, this is spam, right? Straight to the spam folder.
Wow. That's another great piece of advice right there. So as a realtor, a lot of my marketing that goes out in the subject title has a dollar sign. So like, for example, just listed in Boca Raton under $500,000 with a dollar sign in the subject, that could be contributing to the poor open rate of my emails. Guess I won't be putting dollar signs in my subjects anymore.
Last is the property description. I like to think of this as the sales pitch for the property, right? This is going to show up underneath the property, under the summary, but also in the body of the email. So you don't want to put like one-liners in here, like it's a great property, right? As much detail as you can add, the better. The more info, the more offers you're going to get on those properties. I like to sometimes head to InvestorLift.com and just check out some of the other properties in different markets and see like what kind of descriptions people are using to move their deals. I really like this. This guy has all of their comps in here, super big, call and text for showings, scheduling calls, disclaimers. They have a ton of info in there. Once you get everything uploaded, you're going to want to come into the status and then mark it from draft to available. Once you do that, hit save property and it will then be published to your website as well as the InvestorLift marketplace. So you're going to be able to capitalize on traffic from both ends. Any questions about properties, uploading properties? I'll check the Q&A. Jeremiah has got 10 contracts he needs to assign. Jeremiah, I'm going to reach out to you after this call.
That's 250 grand right there.
Yeah. That's going to be huge.
That's an interesting comment that just happened right there. So I am new as a real estate wholesaler. I just started my wholesaling business the day that I won the Future Flipper contest and got 1 year access to the InvestorLift software God mode. One of the reasons that I was apprehensive about starting the business to begin with was because I had no buyers and I had to spend a bunch of time building a buyers list. But the day that I got access to the InvestorLift software, I had access to all the biggest and best buyers in the world. So that problem was solved, and then I can go ahead and start the business. But one of the things that a new wholesaler struggles with is finding their first deal or second or third deal, building momentum in the very beginning of the business. And sometimes doubt creeps into your mind and you think, oh man, is this really something that I should be doing? Is it going to take away from my regular bread and butter as a traditional realtor? And you get somebody like this who's on the other end of the phone call. The guy's name is Jeremiah. He said he has 10 contracts that he's looking to assign right now. 10 contracts, which quite literally could translate to over $200,000 in assignment fees. That right there just pretty much injects new hope for somebody who might be a new wholesaler or maybe even a seasoned wholesaler that's looking to scale. I can't think of a better way than to do it with this type of software.
Let's dive into buyers. I'm going to show you guys the buyers list real quick. We'll show you how to import buyers, and then I'm going to show you guys how to blast out your deals to your buyers list. And then we'll show you God mode at the end. That's kind of the secret sauce in terms of building out your buyers list in new markets. So the buyers list itself on InvestorLift, it's really, really unique to the industry. The way we run it is it's pretty much decentralized. So each buyer profile is almost like its own Wikipedia page. Anyone can go to Wikipedia, they can add items, edit things. The buyers list kind of works the same way. So if I have a buyer, right, let's take a look at one of these buyers here. Let's take a look at Miguel here. If Miguel is a buyer on my buyers list, but he's also a buyer on Robert's buyers list, well, it doesn't really make sense to duplicate that buyer profile when we can just share the data between us. If you have a buyer that is also on somebody else's buyers list, you guys will share that data. So if I find out Miguel gets a new email or Robert finds out he gets a new phone number and he updates that in the system, that gets shared between the two of us. So we have a massive network of buyers. I think there's like over 4 million buyers in the database right now. So you'll find that when you go to import your buyers list, a lot of your buyers are already going to be in the system and you're going to be able to access all the data that's been built out for them.
Guys, this is huge. This is what changed the game, this one thing.
That's fascinating and true. Information is a priceless commodity. In the simplest format, what's happening here is you have access to all of this huge list of buyers, and within these buyers are contact records that are constantly being updated by the software users, you, me, and whoever else uses the software. When you update the contact record to a more accurate data, more accurate email, more accurate cell phone number, better spelling on the name, well, that information is not just saved to your profile, to your individual access. Instead, it's saved and shared across the entire software network with all of the other users within the network. That way, everybody has a hot, qualified buyer lead with correct contact information that is constantly being updated.
It's insanely powerful.
All right, so I'm gonna show you guys kind of a little bit about how we run the buyer profile. So like Robert said, we do two things with every single buyer in the system. Number one, we geotag them based on where they're investing, because like no buyer wants to get deals from outside of where they're investing. So we geotag every single buyer, but we also score every single one of them based on two factors. Number one, how much volume they're doing flipping, and number two, how they interact with the system, right? Because we want to be feeding you the buyers who are most active, the ones who are contributing most, making offers through the platform. So if we look at this buyer here, Miguel, it looks like he's a pretty new buyer. He came in just a couple of weeks ago, but you can see he's already opened a bunch of emails, and every time he makes an action on the platform, that activity gets logged and it gets contributed to his buyer score. Every time he makes an address request, an offer, every time he makes an inquiry, that data gets logged and that contributes to his buyer score. That being said, the bulk of a buyer's buyer score is going to come from the volume of flips that they're doing. The problem is nobody in their right mind is flipping properties in their own name. They're all doing it through LLCs, right? The good news is we have profiles built out on every single LLC in the country. If they've bought and sold a property since 2018, we have that data locked. So let's say we have this buyer here, Miguel, and I know the name of the company that he flips through. I can just type it in here and it'll say, hey, we've found a company with that name that's done over 200 flips in the California market. I can link those two together now and watch what happens to his buyer score. Boom, that's just jumped to over 200,000 because now all those flips are linked to this buyer. But it gets even better than that because now I can go under flips history and we have a record of every single flip that that buyer has made in that market. Right? I can see that this guy buys on average at 391,000. He sells for 537. I can see his average price per square foot, his average hold time. I can now see individual details on every single flip that he's made through this company. Do you see the power in that?
First of all, every time you have a conversation with a buyer, try to get the name of the company that they buy through. Yeah. We have profiles built up on a few million of these LLCs. We don't have every LLC, but we have most of them. So go in and try to link it. Now, let's say I'm trying to sell this guy a deal in San Diego. I'm trying to sell a deal for 400,000 and he lowballs me at 350. He's like, dude, bro, I don't pay more than 350 in this area. And I come in here and I see, hey, 123 Maple Street, you bought last month for 425. Come on, you know this deal's priced well. I know you're gonna make money on this. Come on, let's do this deal. In a negotiation, you know who wins every negotiation? Whoever has the most information. This gives you superpowers in negotiations. You can now literally get on the phone and talk to them about their deals that they did. You can use their deals as comps on your property. All they care about is making money. But when you come to them and you start talking to them about their business, their deals, they realize, oh, this guy's not just some spam wholesaler. He sent me deals just like the deals I made money on. Every time Robert calls me, I'm making money. And guess what? Instead of putting you in that spam inbox, they're going to put you on their speed dial.
Information is a priceless commodity. That feature on this software is amazing.
By the way, John, can you want to show how that geotags them as well?
Really great thing about this is, we know now every market that they flipped a property in, as soon as you link that LLC, it's just going to geotag this buyer for every single market that they've done a flip in, right? Everywhere. And because we update our data every month, as soon as they get new properties locked in and they expand out into new markets, the system's going to pick up on that. You can see like this buyer is super heavy in California, but they went and did a bunch of flips out here in Florida. So as soon as they expand into those new markets, the system will pick up on that and it'll automatically geotag them for those new markets on autopilot.
You used to have to call all your buyers and be like, hey, are you expanding into any new markets? Now, as soon as they expand, it's just like magic. All of a sudden they start getting your deals in that area.
How cool would it be to be a wholesaler, get on the phone with an end buyer, a flipper, a monster flipper, 100, 200, 500 flips a year. Ask them, hey, where are you flipping? What cities are you flipping in? And they're busy, just like everyone else, they're busy. Well, how about this? How cool would it be to not even have to ask them, to simply call them and say, hey, John, my name is Joe. I'm a wholesaler. I know who you are. Checked out your production. Massive producer. Look, I have deals in these following areas. And then just name them off. And I know that you've done significant deals in that area. What better way to start the conversation than to know that the person you're talking to has no objections because you have just created immediate value.
Also, when they make their offers, they put in the name of their LLC. So a quick hack is look at your offers tab once a week. Look at the names of the companies. These ones don't have company names on them because they're just demos. But if you look at the company names, once a week would look at those and then go to the buyer profiles and link them up because that's free data. As soon as you get off this call today, I want you all to do two things. Number one, post your first deal. Create a proper posting. John just showed you how to do it well. And then number two is get your buyers loaded in properly. Now, John's going to show you how to do it, but here's the thing. It is a little bit complicated. We try to make it as simple as possible, but if you're the type of person where we're like, hey, this is a little bit too complicated, can you just do it for me? We will do it for you. You'll see on your accounts in the bottom right hand corner, there'll be a live chat box. You just ping our team there, drop us your buyers, and we'll just do the import and make sure it's formatted everything perfectly for you. So you don't have to worry about it. We have one person on our team, that's all they do is just import buyers and format them for people.
So somewhere in your CRM system, you probably have a buyers list and it's probably in some type of like Excel or CSV format. And what they're saying is that after you post your first deal into InvestorLift, the second thing that you should do is take that CSV file of your buyers, import it into InvestorLift. And what Robert just got finished saying is that the process of importing might be a little finicky. And so if you have any issues at all, they have tech support on call ready to go that'll just go ahead and take the file for you and upload those names into the system for you saving you time, money, and frustration. So if you're the type of person that's tech savvy, you know how to, you want to go ahead and do it, go ahead and take a crack. Or if you need someone to do it for you, that's fine. Just go ahead and get your list and give it to one of their tech support guys. They're going to upload it for you.
Just to make it easier for you. Or just email support@investorlift.com and we'll load them in for you probably the same day. If not, probably within about 24 hours.
Next step is going to be marketing that deal. Thankfully, in the system, it's like easy to do. Pretty much we have this property that we want to move. Once it's been uploaded, we can go to send notifications. There's two templates that are built in, a new deal or a price reduction. I'm just going to go do a new deal notification. Here's where we can start dialing in who we're sending this deal blast to. Now, because every buyer in the system is geotagged, it's going to give us some suggested geotags based on where this property is located. This one's in Fulton County, Fairburn City. So I can just drop some of these geotags in there. And what it'll do is it'll go through my buyers list and segment out every buyer that we know is investing in these markets, right? So right away, it's combed through my list and it's found 2,000 buyers that we can blast this deal out to. We can even get really specific on who we're marketing to. If this is a land deal and I just want to send it to my land buyers, boom, one click and it just pulled out all my land buyers, right? Maybe it's a multifamily, right? 173 multifamily buyers in this market. Or if I want to go wide but exclude certain tags, I can do that as well.
Now we got texting built in here too, guys. So you see right now, this is just a test account. If you want to use texting is fire. Email, maybe you're getting 45% open rate. Text, everyone reads text. If you upgrade to full plan, get texting turned on with one single click. You can go blast 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 buyers in an area. And the responses on those are going to be absolutely incredible.
A few quick notes up here. When you're sending these, you can send to, you'll have options of vetted, VIP, and all. I always recommend when you're sending these, only go vetted or VIP. If you hit send to all, especially if you're importing lists where you're not sure if the buyers, if the emails are right or the phone numbers are right, I can screw up all your metrics, right? You'll get a lot of spam, a lot of unsubscribe. So make sure you're only going vetted or VIP.
So far, what John has showed you is how to create a deal, upload your buyers, and then email blast your deal out to those buyers. Now, there's going to be situations, though, where you might not have a ton of buyers, or maybe you're in a brand new market. You got a lead came in a different city. It's a smoking hot deal, but you literally have 0 buyers. That's where God mode comes in. So if you go over to God mode is going to allow us to find new buyers for a deal. Even if you do have buyers in that area, I recommend diving in here because you could a lot of times find even better buyers and sell your deals for a lot more. Guys, the first time I built God mode, I was still wholesaling at the time, and my CTO called me up, Dimitri, and he said, Robert, I just finished God mode. You want to try it? I'm like, yeah, I was just about to go sell this deal. Let me let it rip. The deal was already overpriced. I should have made maybe $25,000 on that deal, but I pounded God mode for about 2 hours. And in 2 hours, I got 13 offers on that deal. And instead of making 25 grand on the deal, I made 46,000. Why? Because I stacked up 13 offers from God mode. I bid them up against each other. And instead of selling for my asking price, I sold for my crazy, insane buy it now price. Okay, so I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. First thing you got to understand is what God mode is and how it works. God mode, what we've done is we pull in all the public record data and we run algorithms on it to go find guys that are buying and selling either a lot of properties really quickly, or they're buying and selling stuff in short periods with big jumps in price. In general, 95% of the time, if you see a name in here, they're a real estate investor. Now, when you come in here, first thing you can do is you can set your radius out. You can even dial in bedroom, bathroom, square footage, date ranges, but I usually just go with distance here. What that's going to do is it's going to expand the radius around this map and then pull in all the data on everyone that has done a deal around your deal. Now, the first thing, let's say I can see the aggregate stats. You can see people are buying at 177 here. They're selling at 215. They're holding for about 133 days, making about 60K per deal. So first thing I like to do in God mode is, like, let's say I'm trying to sell this deal for 200 grand. I can zoom in and I can see that, if Johnny over here did a deal a block away and he bought it for 200 and sold it 6 months ago for 300, made a 100K rip on it. If I call up Johnny over here and I say, hey, I saw you did this deal over on, what's the name of the street? Whatever street, Cole Street. I got one a block away on Oak Street. I saw you bought it for 200, sold it for 300. I'm trying to get 200 for mine. ARV is 300. What do you think Johnny's going to say? You think Johnny's going to make me an offer?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I go call up Sarah over here and I do the same pitch. I say, hey, Sarah, I saw you bought this deal for 225 and sold it for 285. I got a deal I'm asking 200 for. You interested in making me an offer? What What do you think Sarah's going to say? So imagine if you just did just spend an afternoon and you just called everyone that had done a deal around your deal. How many offers do you think you could get? You get a ton, right? This helps you find the people. You see the aggregate metrics up here. You can see them on the map. And then down here, you can see the actual breakdown of the actual data, who these people are.
So not only do you have access to one of the largest, most powerful buyer lists in the world, but the data that you receive in both sales history, ARV after repair value, and accurate contact info is going to allow you the opportunity to contact these prospective buyers, generate interest because you have the data right in front of you, and drum up multiple offer situations, bidding them up against each other, driving the sales price higher, and putting more dollars into your pocket. That is an awesome feature of the InvestorLift software.
In 2 seconds, I just found the biggest hedge fund in this market. Not even 0.2 of a second, I found the biggest hedge fund in this market. The next challenge you have is when this comes out of the box, tax record day, there's no phone numbers. Have you guys ever tried skip tracing a hedge fund to get phone numbers? Good luck getting the phone numbers. On big companies like that, a skip trace is not going to work, number one. But number two, even on smaller companies, skip tracing is really hard for LLCs. When you skip trace, you look how many numbers are here. There's a bunch of numbers, a bunch of different phone numbers here. You might have to call 5 or 6 phone numbers before you finally hit one that's accurate. That takes a lot of time. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make you guys rich, not the data brokers. So what we've done is every time anyone on the InvestorLift network skip traces someone, everyone else gets that phone number as well. Okay. So if John skip traces someone, I get that in my account. Joey skip traces, I get it. If I skip trace someone, everyone else gets it. So if you see here around this property, look at this. This is all already skip traced for you. Most of the country is already skip traced for you. There's literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of skip tracing that other people have already done for you. And as you're going through and calling, if you get an invalid phone number, you can mark those as invalid, remove it. So that's letting everyone know that, hey, that's an invalid phone number, or you can mark them as valid. This is letting everyone know that that's accurate phone number. Look how much easier it is now. We're all working together to make it easier.
Let's say you have a name of a hedge fund. The hedge fund contact info has been skip traced and they give you 10 phone numbers. And then of the 10 phone numbers, none of them have been dialed yet. But let's just say somebody came before you, another wholesaler came before you, and they went through and they dialed all the phone numbers. And out of the 10 numbers that were given, 5 of them were immediate disconnects, throwaways, fax machines, but the other 5 rang to somebody's desk or cell phone. The law of numbers would say that the more that you dial that particular call list, the more refined it becomes over time. Let's pretend that that one person who had come before you actually got somebody on the phone, an acquisitions manager, and they had a good conversation and they ended up doing a deal. Well, that person before you would label the phone number with a green check mark saying that that is a legitimate phone number. And then the next person that goes back to visit that particular buyer profile knows that that's the number that works. So they don't have to go through the process of calling all the other stuff and scrubbing all the other phone numbers. They already have the number that is accurate and works. That is awesome. And the only way that you can build an accurate list over time is by having thousands of people participate together in creating it and then sharing it. Such a cool feature and benefit of using the software.
Here's the thing about LLC skip tracing. It's really hard, okay? It's really hard. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. Typically, if I was trying to move deals in this area, I would call these verified phone numbers. That's when I'd pick up the phone. But if I was trying to call 500, I'm not gonna go call them first. What I'm gonna do probably is I'm gonna skip trace them all to fill in any blanks, then export them and load them into texting software. And I'm gonna text them because it might take me a week to go call and get 100 people on the phone because no one answers their phone anymore, especially big buyers. But if I load this into texting software, I can drop 100 texts into people's phones in 5 minutes.
That's super important. And it's true. Very few people actually answer their cell phones anymore. And the more big a buyer they are with the bigger, deeper pockets that they have, the less likely they are to pick up that phone call. So being able to export the data in a CSV file into a third-party texting software service is going to ensure that you get better response results, because it doesn't matter who you are or how much money you have, the historical open rate for text messages is actually very high. Generally speaking, people look down at their phone and open up the text message they received, and they make a decision within a second to figure out if they're going to respond or if it's spam or not. So that's a good tip. Well, all right, guys, there you have it. I hope you really enjoyed this demo/review/reaction video to the exclusive InvestorLift software. Do take advantage of the affiliate link that's located in the description box below. You can get 10% off of your InvestorLift purchase, which is at least a $600 value for the basic lowest package. Simply click the link in the description. It'll bring you to my link tree. And from the link tree, click on the 10% off promo code, which will bring you to a page that looks just like this right here. And use Joe and Sil as your promo code. Be sure to share this video with a friend and don't forget to subscribe. Many blessings.